the town and tell the people about the musical disc coming your way.
Big Deal Sounds present Dub Stories Online Limited Series. Thursdays at 9 p.m. GMT plus 3.
Thank you for the link again.
Yeah, man, you're most welcome. As I've been telling you, India to Africa is mentioned in so many of my dub plates, India to Africa, you know, so I'm glad we made the link too.
Yeah, and I've been following you for a while since I saw you online, and I heard that I will have a Indian sound on Clash. And everybody all over the world was like a sound from India clashing, and people were surprised and people were waiting to see this Indian sound, and you blew the hell out of our minds because people didn't expect a sound from India, bring it, clash it on.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I knew that there would be a bit of an element of surprise, you know? And
Yeah.
plus, I think I do my thing a bit different from how people do in other parts of the world. So, yeah, man, I was glad actually for the opportunity, and I knew a lot of Clash people and sound system people will be tuned in from all over the world. So, yeah, it was fun. I'm glad I got a chance to, you know, showcase my thing.
So was it your first Clash?
Well, not really, but in a sense, I would say yes, because, you know, I was living in Europe as a little kid, and I remember we had some little Clash there when I was like, I mean, a kid. I'm talking about like 15, 16-year-old. And, you know, that time we had like 3 dub plate, and we mostly use 45s. And then much later, I moved back to India. And then in India, at the beginning when I moved back here, I didn't really think that there would be a chance again to play reggae music and Clash and sound system. I thought, now this is a thing in the past, you know. But slowly, you know, we were able to build a scene here. A lot of people contributed in different parts of the country. And then there's one more sound system in India called Reggae Rajas that also, you know, organizes sessions, and they were also cutting dub plates. So a couple of times we did a clash against them. But then it was kind of a situation where I was cutting dub plates much more seriously, you know, and they were focusing more on promoting sessions. And the next thing is the scene here was kind of small, and the clash created too much like bad vibes, you know, so we decided like, yo, it can't really run. And then they were not so interested in building the clash thing, you know. So since then I've been kind of organizing my regular sessions in India, and right now I'm also much more focused on building in India. That's what's really important for me. But I was still cutting dub plates all the while, and you know, I knew sooner or later, I mean, if it was up to me, I would have waited a little bit more and built my box a little bit more, you know. But then the opportunity came, and Walshy hit me up, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm ready for this, you know, let's just do this.
I know you like the vinyls, but why would you prefer vinyl in this time and era?
Well, actually, there's a couple of reasons for this. One thing is I started out in this way, you know, like mid-90s, I started buying records, and I really love records. And I love those 45s that used to come from Jamaica. And I also really used to love dub plate because, you know, the dub plates used to sound different from the vinyl. And actually, that's what sometimes made Clash exciting also, because the bass sounds different. The bass on a dub plate sounds different even from the bass on a 45. And so when you hear a tune on dub plate, it sounds fatter. Sometimes the artist would have sound more raw. You know, the performance of the artist on a dub plate sometimes used to be more raw than on the track that's released. So from them time, I just really love vinyl, and I just never make the switch, you know, because I'm primarily actually not a selector. I was primarily an artist, like I'm a singer, you know, with me and my wife. Yeah. And so it's just true. I love reggae music. I was just starting to select also, because I always had all these records. And then there's a couple of reasons. So I just love records, and I never made the switch because it never interests me really to go into the laptop and the computer thing. And secondly, I felt that now, you know, representing the thing in India where a lot of people are learning it for the first time, I thought it's nice to represent that vinyl culture also, because it's different, you know. If you see someone in a dance selecting records, and it's kind of exciting seeing someone pull out a record, put it on the turntable. I think it's exciting for people to see this. And these are records that have traveled a long way. You know, they've come from Jamaica, and it's different from everybody's used to seeing a laptop in the dance, and then sometime it looked like selectors reading email, or, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just not really my cup of tea. And I think also, honestly, I think everybody should do what them do, you know? I mean, the fact that laptop and CD made the whole thing more accessible means that you have more selectors everywhere in the world, which would have been difficult before that, you know? But
Yeah.
in a certain sense, I also think it mashed up the industry, because after the switch happened, all the record labels in Jamaica start collapsing. And I think there's a difference with sound quality also. Like, I think the sound quality really used to be better. And see, I'm not just a selector. I run a sound system also, you know? Like, I set up big speaker box and run a session. And that's when, to me, you really hear the difference between a vinyl. It just sounds warm and it sounds good, especially some of these records that were pressed in the 70s. And it make a difference. It may not make such a big difference if you're playing in a club, but if you're playing on a really good sound system, and you know, I use a preamp, and it makes a difference, because people who listen to vinyl records for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time, it makes them feel good in their body. It creates a sense of physical well-being. And what happens sometimes with the MP3 is it creates a thing called sonic fatigue. People, you get a bit tired, you know?
Mhm.
So I don't know, for all of those reasons, I stuck to the records just because I love it. And I think in reggae music, a lot of some of the old school cats still play vinyl, and you have a vinyl dance here and there, but most of the reggae selectors left it. But the people who continue to do it are the dubstep selectors and the drum and bass and the bass heads. They all still continue to cut dub plate and run sound system. And I think it's a shame that, it's sad that that kind of thing left reggae music, because I think it added something special to it, you know?
Okay.
That's
So,
just my thing. I mean, you know,
okay.
that's just how I do. And I think it's good. Why should everyone do the same? You know what I mean? It's good if people play in a different style. That makes it interesting.
Mhm. Which sound will you say influenced you in your early years when you're starting out?
Well, I would say, see, in those days, it was before there was a lot of reggae on the internet. So sound cassette used to still be the way to access sound. And the sounds we loved the most, really, I mean, we didn't have exposure to a lot of things. I was a kid in Europe at the time. My mom was teaching there. But I remember there was one King Addies tape floating around.
Mhm.
King Addies versus Kilimanjaro, that clash.
Mhm.
And then there was Stone Love and Radigan. And I really love Addies, Kilimanjaro, and Stone Love. I mean, those are the sounds I was exposed to also, but I really appreciated their different way of playing and cutting the plate. Like Stone Love with Rory was just smooth and was just like a great, really polished performance, and really polished dub plate also. And then
Okay.
Kilimanjaro had this crazy raw energy that Ricky Trooper bring. And the Kilimanjaro dubplate also, they used to not sound as polished as the Stone Love ones, but they had this raw energy. Like when an artist voiced for Jaro, it used to just sound wicked. And then again, Addies was also just really quality, and it impressed me, man. I mean, I think, you know, from those times, I think a lot of the things that are happening today still stem from the excellence of that era. You know, when you listen to those sound tape, and there was an energy just on the audio that would excite you and make you want to get into the culture, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's happening today. Like if a kid today sees a SoundCloud clash between one of the modern sound, I don't know. Is that still happening, that a 16, 17-year-old gets hungry and wants to find out more about clash culture and is just drawn to it? I'm not sure, you know?
Mhm. How important is pitch in a clash?
It's very important.
Mhm.
You must know how to use your weapons, you know? And speech is the difference between, like, if you just have money tune, it's not gonna cut it. There's enough, I don't want to name any names, but there's enough examples out there of sound system that have crazy selection of dub plate, but the MC is not charismatic. And the MCs who can think fast and think on their toes and come up with good things to say and entertain the crowd and say things which are relevant, it can change the tide in the dance. It can change the atmosphere, you know? Like I remember like people like Squingy, he could change just from the presence and strength of his personality. He would say something and it would change the momentum of the dance. Or a sound like Black Cat, you know, Black Cat, where, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the sound with the most amount of money, but they won a lot of clashes. And that's because Panta just had the speech and the knowledge, which is very important. Otherwise, that's the whole thing that make a sound system and make it different from other genres where you just have a DJ selecting, you know?
And you know, when I heard you the first time on that quarantine clash, and your speech was huge, because you know the way you introduced your dub, and I just waited for you to drop the dub, because the way you introduced the dub, it was just catchy, and it reminded me of the old UK vibe, Rodigan, Saxon, and your
Yeah,
speech
man,
is good. Yeah,
it's people were saying that they're saying like, okay, they were surprised when I said Addies and Jaro, and they said like, yo, we thought that you took inspiration from the UK sounds.
yeah.
Maybe indirectly, you know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Where in Europe exactly did you grow? Did you start your thing?
I was in Germany as a youth. Like my mom was a teacher, and she was teaching in Germany for a long time. And that's where I got into reggae music of all places. People are always like, yo, how did an Indian youth get into reggae? And it's like, yo, I was living in Germany, got into it there. And then I moved back to India like 20 years ago. And then just kept the thing alive. And then slowly opportunity and chance came to really, build a sound system and push the reggae music in a certain way. And it's building. It's still very new. It's very, very new in India. There's a handful of people pushing it in different parts of the country. But everyone's working hard and the scene is developing. It's an exciting time because it's kind of like the scene is growing as we're growing,
Define a sound system.
How you mean? Like, how do I define it? Or?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know what? I think I think it's kind of a pity that the craft of sound system is kind of also gone to the background, because earlier every sound crew, could have Stone Love with Weepo or Jaro or Addies, they all used to really know about sound and stringing up speaker box, and they would also pay a lot of attention to the performance. Like, Stone Love was the first people to bring a drum machine into the dance and experiment with delay and things like this. And now that's gone to the background. Like a lot of the sounds, I don't think they think so much about what delay effects they use and things like this. But earlier times, all the sound system used to also innovate on the performance front. So I think it's very important. It's a shame that craft is kind of gone to the background, and I hope it come back a little bit, because again, it's like you see the Europeans and Japanese are carrying it forward and building sound system and kind of flourishing with it. And it's a shame to see that the original Jamaican sound, that's kind of gone to the background. I think it's very important, because I think part of why this culture was so successful is because people knew about the craft of sound system, and Jamaicans originated it. Everybody take it and run with it. You know what I mean? And because see what happened is, if you play in a club and reggae music, especially if you want to play more, like I love roots and rubber dub music, but if I play roots and rubber dub music on a club system, it's always going to sound weaker than some of the like high bashment music of today. But if I have a big sound system with some, 6 super scoop and a preamp, you can make it sound fat. And I mean, it's going to just impact your whole organism, from your body to your mind in a way that no other music will. But for that, as a selector, you also need to get into the craft of it. And, we've been playing music in India, reggae music. We're trying to push reggae music in India for the last 10 years, or more than that even. And at some point, I just realized, like, we need to build a sound system, because that gives the power and the majesticness that reggae music require. Because it's not fit to just play in a club system and then one day it's techno night and then one day it's reggae night. You know what I mean? That belittle the music. Because the music was made for sound system. The dub plate, they were made for sound system. And so I just feel like, I just recognize that if I want to, for myself, just grow the thing in India in a way where I feel it has a future and it really take root, then you need to do the full thing. Build a sound system and organize dances and think about the atmosphere. You know what I mean? Like, you need to think about the atmosphere that you're creating and the context that you're creating around the music.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And just go direct to your memorable dubs.
All right, cool. Yeah. I you know what? I'm gonna see what I pull out, because I didn't want to expose my box too much actually in the last flash. Also, I was holding back a lot. So I'm gonna play mostly tunes that I already played, and just see what I can. So what you want me to do? Just select some tunes to play for you, or?
Yeah. Just select what you wanna play and just tell me the story behind it, the memorable story behind the dub.
Okay, cool. So all right, I'll start with this tune. I played this in the Clash against Jamaica, and this is Johnny Clark and Capleton. And it's a version of None Shall Escape the Judgment. And actually, I was looking for this rhythm for a long time. I saw on YouTube, there was a video of Johnny Clark voicing at Bonnie Lee's None Shall Escape the Judgment, but it was not the regular rhythm. It was like a really tough, like rubber dub rhythm, And I remember looking for the rhythm for a very long time, and I didn't find it anywhere. And then there was like Bonnie Lee put out he put out a record of releases from the old tapes, and that rhythm was on there, you know. And then I was trying to voice it, and this was even before Rockstone came out. I thought I would sample it, you know. So then I thought, say, all right, let me get, you know, Capleton and Johnny Clark together on this, because it's kind of like, I don't know, I also feel that a lot of the times, if you build a dub plate, you should try and contribute something to the tune. You know what I mean? If you're just voicing the 45, chances are the 45 will sound better than your dub plate. And you just, you know what I mean? You're not making it personal, or you're not making it really special or stand out. So, yeah, man, I can play you that. That was Johnny Clark on Capleton, and that was voiced for me by Casey White. Casey White, and I was shocked. Actually, I only found out after the clash that Casey White passed away like 6 months ago. He passed away in Jamaica, and he's a soul singer. He used to cut all the dub plate. A lot of the dub plate for Sir Coxsone were cut by Casey White. And I got introduced to him by Father Festus from Coxsone. And it's like one of those things where, you know, and I don't know, now that Casey White has passed away, it's a big loss for me also, because he's Capleton cousin, and he used to cut a lot of the Capleton for me also. And it used to just be different, because you used to get a full song, not just like a 1 minute 30 second or 2 minute dub play, but full song. And then often in the last verse, Capleton would start freestyle and say something about my sound or places in India, and used to just be kind of special. So Casey White used to always record tunes with a lot of quality, like not carelessly, you know. So cool. I'll play you this tune. I'll run it from intro, because a lot of the times in the intro also you will see I ask the artist to shout out like the Zapatista or the Black Panther movement, or, you know, we have similar movement in India. So for me, it's always important. Yeah, man, cool. I'll just play it for you, and then I can tell you a little bit more about it.
Base foundation, them boy are no bad like we. All them attack them no tough like we. All them attack them no rough like we. You know, I'm gonna say him no straight up to the big sound of base foundation. I'm gonna say bless up all African Indian warriors. This to me I say all tribe watch you know. I'm gonna say Naxalite watch you know. I'm gonna say watch you know. I'm gonna say Zapatista keep it burning. I'm gonna say MPLA. I want them full of all Black Panther. Yo, Johnny Clark, step in at them face. Oh yeah, so man, global man. Money, this foundation. Great heart, yeah. Money, from India to Africa. Usman sir, no capitalist shall escape. In this time, I say these words are singing tones. Tell them. No someone shall escape from this foundation. I say these words are singing to mankind. Watch out. The Rockstone was my pillar, could not find place to sleep. But them empty, have to find food for eat. And every day we terrorize by soldier and police. When the thing them a show man, the thing them a bait. From them a play cowboy and Indian and
Yeah. Cool. One more thing I can tell you about the lyrics. There's a part where in this where I say no capitalist shall escape in this time. And I noticed that on one of the dub versions, on the Johnny Clark 45, if you flip the record, on the dub version, he sings no capitalist shall escape in this time. But that's not in the Johnny Clark song. So I always wonder, like, where are those lyrics from? And I don't know, I heard that it might be a version by Earl 16 or something, but yeah, I asked him to put that into the lyrics as well. I can play you a next version I cut on this rhythm, which is a horns dub plate. Because I feel a lot of the times, yeah, man, I notice also in the dance, like often when you have vocal tracks, like you play 7, 8 tracks on the same rhythm, it's a relief. People sometimes need space, you know? So I start cutting dub plates also with horn players and things. Like sometimes I also record a horn section for the dub plates, but it's nice to play in between. So I played this also in the Clash, but I played it very briefly. This is some horn players. I used to have a band also that we toured with when we were touring in the UK. And one of them blew up in the meantime, like Nubaya Garcia. She's like a well-known, you know, jazz saxophonist. So, yeah, man, I'll play you a bit of this as well. You see how I mean.
It's
It's the base foundation.
But now there's a solo part.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you see, so this kind of thing, you know, I have a lot of horn doublets and some rhythms, the horn section also, I bring it into the vocal tune.
Okay.
So I don't know what else can I play you? What else you want to hear?
Yo, deep into that box. Let me know. I know you have some crazy dubs. I don't know how you got the dubs. I heard you say a story about how you went to Jamaica, how you used to get some specials, pre-releases.
I'll play you one of them. Cool. Yeah, I was sitting on a lot of dubs to save for the sounds after Cheeky Dubs because I felt like the next sound are like well armed and dangerous, you know. So I was trying to just hold back on a lot of dubplate. But cool, I can play you this tune. This is actually also a special tune for me because this we voiced like we voiced it ourselves, and we linked with Rory, who took us over to Toad's house, and I asked Rory to do the intro also because you know he has a crazy voice. So let me find that one. Cool. This is Toots and Rory, and this is a done drum on rhythm that I was also planning to. I was planning to voice a lot more tunes on this, but I played for you still.
It's the base foundation.
Many of you will think of Vindaloo and Nam bread, regular chips. When it comes to base foundation roots and toots and Delhi Sonnet and the New Delhi Massive from way back when, they do things original. The architect of Skia, Toots, and the Majors. Right.
East to west, I'm going from north to south, going from east to west, going from north to south. He's going from east to west.
Yeah. All right. Scene. All right, I'm not sure what to dig out next, to be honest, but I can play you a rhythm that we didn't play in the Clash. This is from a 45. That's a rhythm that we built, and the tune is not yet released. But I'm not going to play you the 45. I play you some doublets I cut on the rhythm. It's basically a version of Money, 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 but it's kind of heavier. And I've cut a bunch of tunes on this. This is not really a Clash tune necessarily. Like that's why I didn't play it, you know, at Quarantine Clash. But
so who do you have on the rhythm?
I voiced like Movado, and I voiced Taros Riley, and I voiced the original Horace Andy, and it's all like theme around the concept of money, you know?
What's the name of the rhythm?
It's a version of Money, 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 but kind of different. I'll play you the Movado tune. and maybe I'll play you some other one.
I want to be a foundation. What's that bad man buckler thing? Holy God. Let me start telling you close to you.
It's the base
We are on the
foundation.
theater. If they this we are theater. We work hard through paper. Then you want big guns. And them need skyscraper. No girl can't change we. We are girl changer. Girls don't flex with paper. No ask me baby man than the alien. How much girl looks free. Yes, foundation we say. We not bow. We not for nobody. Hey, I know some boy go go for Versace. Wear tight clothes and chase like Umalashi. The legend come true. We reach out, we have been the same. Yes, and we kill zone, that's how we have it. Now got somebody to it, time and still have it. Some son boy, you open someone man. So we have a one girl will look flashy. That's why we say money can't sit with it. We are money theater. So if them this, we are theater.
Cool. I want to play you one more on this.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, these kind of tune, you know, I don't necessarily play in a clash because I wasn't sure. You know what I'm saying? It's not really clash oriented. And then people don't necessarily accept these kind of rhythm either, you know? Like in a clash, usually they want more hardcore, like rubber dub kind of rhythm. But I'll play it for you still.
It's the base foundation.
Yes, well, I be a foundation roots. Tyrus riding, singing youth. Delhi, Sultanate, better than the internet. It's a squeeze. Exclusive tune. Oh gosh, man. Someone can't play these. Squeeze. Hey, I miss it. So we said dollars and cents, no partial, and the business who I spend them. Some will do anything and anything just to spend them. Hey, let me tell them all them colors of them dirty dollar bills. I feel make a hustle in your affair of a skill. Hustle, work your muscle and your tussle until manifest your dreams and build your house up on the hill. Them tell your vanity pollute and corrupt your soul. Hey, the golden rule is who got the goal. Watch out now, be a foundation of you roll. Them can't stable you, can't keep your blindfold. Money cry.
It's the base foundation.
Money cry. Hey, but the money cry. No for them a cry for the money long time. Hey, them try to rap and rip and type it. I sell you out. Well, they listen talented all out. $50 a penny, yo, you never yet fall. What do some song, boy?
I played a Busy Signal, Courtney Melody, and Joey Lickshot. And that tune also took a while to build because we had to look for Joey Lickshot, who's actually Barrington Levy's cousin, you know?
Okay.
And I caught him on the rhythm of that Shine rhythm, Shine, Bad Boy. But a lot of people don't know that rhythm actually is not a Bad Boy rhythm. That rhythm actually was built by Sly and Robbie for Grace Jones. She had a tune called Night Clubbing. And that tune, again, the Shine Bad Boy rhythm, actually is a version of Fever, you know, of the Coxsone Dot Studio One version of Fever. And then King Tubby, when he built Ninja Me Ninja, it's like again the same rhythm, you know. So I felt it makes sense to put Courtney Melody on it, and yeah, that kind of thing. So I can play you that. And then I recorded a little synthesizer because when King Tubby has the Ninja Me Ninja Courtney Melody, and Johnny Osborne has a tune on the same rhythm called Enough Respect. And the Enough Respect has that little Western melody in it. You know, from the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I got a friend of mine to play synthesizer, and I added that melody to the dub plate as well for the intro. So cool. I'll play you this as 3 the hard way. I'm working on some more tunes, like on some more, you know, like a next selection on this rhythm. But this is the only one that I played at the Clash.
Bring the Latin. This is Delhi Sultanate as the ninja. Stir. Wah, 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 wah. Ping.
Delhi Sultanate, them few overstand. You know the thing said? Delhi Sultanate represent the real culture, real steel, dub plate, speaker box style, dog.
Guillotine. Darling. We are African, Indian, also Jamaican. That's good melody. Busy signal. Alongside Joe Lickshot.
Courtney.
Our Indian, we Indian.
Big tune.
We are the Indian ninja. Okay. Yes, son boy, we are the ninja. A ninja, we ninja, we ninja. We dangerous.
Hey, big up India, Africa.
Be a foundation, roots around our play. Lord, we serious. But if you never you can't start the show. You can't start the show like Base Foundation. Yeah.
Base Foundation rules. Sound up plate, big sound turn on. Base Foundation up in the land. When we are juggle big tunes, tell them say the young and the old, everybody come on. Listen, Mr. Urban, you will stop me strong. Sugar might not, they are but the thing them live on.
Yeah.
Pass it to the echo chamber. Yes, Foundation root, them straight up.
A ninja, we ninja, we ninja. And dangerous.
I want to bring Joey Lickshot in one more time because he just have a crazy voice, saying.
Serious. But if you never you can't start the show. You can't start the show like Base Foundation. And if I your name Van Damme, you know, kick like PG. Yeah. Not like a baby, not begging. It's so what we just can't tell. We dangerous. Yeah.
Hey, Delhi Sultanate, them people say that's what the thing said.
Busy signal.
Yeah. You know, originally, Busy Signal has a tune called 119 with Anthony Redrose and Joey Lickshot. And in that tune, he has a verse about sound system and how a lot of new selectors don't know about vinyl and things like this. So actually, I wanted him to record that verse. But then when the session came, he was like, "Oh, you open, I remember that verse." And, you know, so he didn't want to go back and learn it. So that's why he cut this. But let's see, you know, if I get a chance, I may revoice it and put that verse in there because I really like that.
Yeah, okay.
So cool. You know what? I'm going to try and look for, I play you like 2 more tunes.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
And I'm going to play you a different kind of cut. This is an Indian artist. I was kind of wondering in the Clash, should I play like one Indian dubplate? Because I know that, you know, when Cheeky Dubs, they were playing Spanish and French and stuff. I thought like, all right, let me play an Indian artist as well. Because India right now, we have a lot of rappers. It's really blowing up, like a lot of really good rappers. And the nice thing about reggae music is that, you know, you're talking about 70 years of music production. So you have roots, you have something that hip hop that they can connect to. And I found this folk singer who's a wicked folk singer, and I played him some roots tracks, and suddenly his ears poke up and he's like, yo, this is wicked, let me record on this. So that's something else I try and do apart from, you know, recording all the Jamaican artists, is record Indian singers on reggae rhythms, because that's how sometimes then you build a bridge, you know. Like, especially because we have so many languages in India and so many really different, you know, cultures and nations and tribes even within the country. So if I go to a new area and if I can draw on an artist from that area who sings in their language, it makes people feel good, you know. It makes it feel like, yo, it's like, this is our thing. And then if after that they hear some reggae and some Jamaican tunes, they kind of get a link, like, cool, they're talking about something similar, you know, that concerns our life as well. So I try and do that just to kind of build a bridge. So this tune, also also in India, like a lot of people are new to the dubplate concept, you know. So often this tune, so many people after the dance, they keep asking me like, where can I find this tune and where can I find that tune? And it's kind of nice. I feel like that's how it used to be in the original days, you know, when you play a dubplate and it creates a hunger for the song, and then it comes out maybe like, you know, a couple months later. So
हाँ जी, ये है बेस फाउंडेशन रूट्स ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਾਉਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ पंजाब दे डॉक्टर गुरभजन सिंह गिल जी का लिखा होया एक गाना जिसमें वो कह रहे हैं कि ये जो एक्चुअली बाबा बुल्ले शाह से कह रहे हैं कि धरती पे आ जाओ और ये जो अंधेरा चारों तरफ फैलाया हुआ है ना लोगों ने, इसका देखो क्या कर सकते हैं। जो हमारे पुराने अड्डे होते थे जहां शांति और खुशहाली का माहौल होता था, उनको रिक्लेम करते हैं। फिर पुराने डेरे चल बुलिया धरती ते चलिए, उथे लभीए फिर पुराने डेरे, जो ना तेरे ना हुण मेरे, जिथे अजकल पै गए कोर हनेरे, मुड़ के ओयो राम मलिए, वही चल बुलिया धरती ते चलिए, चल बुलिया धरती ते चलिए, उथे लभीए फिर पुराने डेरे।
yeah, we.
So is that a recording artist?
Yeah, it's a recording artist, but he don't record on reggae. He's like a folk singer, you know.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay.
Like a lot of the work we do is we link with artists and sit them down and explain to them about sound system and dubplates, and then play a whole bunch of rhythm for them. And usually I try and figure out, you know, what kind of rhythm an artist might be able to relate to. So if I'm talking to some of the young rappers, we play them some more dancehall or, you know, those kind of rhythms.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these folk artists, I was just I didn't really know. I was playing loads of rhythms and he didn't really react to anything. So I was like, okay, he's not really feeling the reggae thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put on this rhythm and I went out to make some tea. And then when I came back, he's like, okay, I have something on this. Mm-hmm. And it kind of connect, you know, like I played this tune for Rory, and even Rory was like, yo, mad, this sound wicked, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'll play you one more tune. This is a Michael Prophet that I played because we were touring. Like for a couple of years, we used to go every summer and tour the UK, you know, with my band, the Scavengers. And then one of those times, I got a chance to voice Michael Prophet, and this was just, again, like not long before the man passed away, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So after the clash, actually, it was kind of nice because after the Jamaica clash, out of the blue, like Dynamic called me, you know. And I've been kind of in touch with him sometimes, you know, just sending messages and stuff, because he noticed me also from earlier, and I was keen to build like an India-Africa link, but then, you know, didn't talk for a long time. But yeah, suddenly Dynamic called me and he's like, yo, that Michael Prophet, I should have played longer, and that's your anthem and stuff, you know? So I was kind of, yeah, it was nice. And the nice thing was I was checking the comment section later. It's a version of Promised Land that came out in France. Like there's a hip-hop group in France called Raga Sonic. So a lot of reggae people don't necessarily know this version of Promised Land, but of course all the French people will know, you know? So I knew like, yo, some of the French people recognize the rhythm and make them feel nice maybe. So yeah, it was cool to see the reaction. A lot of people were like, oh man, the man know about Raga Sonic, and you know, so yeah, I took the rhythm from Raga Sonic, and then I got this trombone player to record horns over it. So that's another like I like using this rhythm for dubplate.
Okay.
And I have the Michael Prophet. I have a few more, and I'm working to cut a lot more tunes on this rhythm as well. So I just played for you.
Now pick up Bass Foundation, select a man called Delhi Sultanate. See me? The Indian, final assassin, Michael Prophet say run things. Josh, I smite them with lots of thunder. Yeah, the sound is talking. What they don't know right, white Bass Foundation have the dub, and that's the truth. Yes, cause everything that we try, I said the next sound I find time, but I keep on a try. Bass Foundation of the dub tonight.
foundation.
You've been talking what you don't know what. Sound boy foundation. Happy dub plate and that's the truth. Yes. Cause everything foundation do. Yes, you try follow through. But foundation will go through. Your sound will beat back and blue. Yes. Foundation shall strike them with lots of dubplate. You're talking what you don't know what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will me cut the delay. So yeah, man, Michael Prophet, and the idea for this doublet, actually, I have to give thanks to a brother called Dwayne, who used to, no, sorry, Wayne. His name is Wayne. He used to work in a record shop in London called Daddy Cool, which shut down in the meantime. But as a kid, actually, the first set of records I bought as a kid, and then after that, we had enough records to kind of start a little sound system. So we used to go, 16-year-olds, we save up money, go to a trip to London and try and buy as many records as we could. And we used to go every day to the shop called Daddy Cool, to the point where they started getting irritated with us. But there was one brother there called Wayne, who kind of took out, kind of like started mentoring me because he felt like, yo, this little youth needs some advice. So I remember years later, I don't know where Wayne is now. He had a sound system called Direct Impact and used to work in record stores, but then all the record stores kind of collapsed. So I don't know where he is now. But that man gave me the idea. He's like, yo, if I voice Michael Prophet, I'm going to voice Talking on Promised Land, So I have to give respect to the man because he came up with the idea still.
Okay.
So
after quarantine clash, should we expect to see you at more clashes?
Yeah, man. I mean, for me, it's like a thing where I don't know if I'll do another online clash because I'm kind of keen to do a real life clash, But if a good opportunity come along where I feel is a good platform and it makes sense to do it, it was fun still. So, I might still do it. But I think otherwise, I'm going to wait for a real life clash, and build my box in the meantime. And yeah, man, actually give me a kind of incentive again to I love clash, I love clash. Like I'm sometimes not sure, where the thing is going to go because I see a lot of problems also with it in the present moment. But I love clash. And, I got so focused on just focusing on building a scene in India and stuff. But now after that clash, it kind of inspired me back to, dub plate. It's a dangerous thing because you get addicted to cutting dub plate. And,
Yeah, true.
But yeah, man, what? The thing is, like, I'm going to keep doing my thing and I'll be able, so I'm always ready to defend my sound, but I can't make it my top priority to go into on a clash thing because, boss, it's a lot of money, and like, think about what that money can do in India. Like with the price of one Shabba ranks, I can start a book publishing house. I can build a library. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's like, Jano, man, like, but I will always, I'll always keep cutting dub plate and I'm ready, Yeah, man. And definitely, I think it's a thing where every now and then definitely get into the mix because I just love it,
So I know there's Reggae Rajas and then there's Bass Foundation in India. Are there any young sounds coming up?
Yes, definitely. So you have in Goa, you have a sound system called 10,000 Lions, and they also have a sound system, like full proper sound system. Then in the south of the country, there's a brother called Dr. Dub in Hyderabad. It's quite far. I mean, in India, if you travel there with the sound system, it takes me 5 days driving, But yeah, so he's also building a sound system. And then in the far northeast of the country, again, very far from where I am, but they're also building a sound system. They're called Small Axe Sound. So you have a couple of people really building sound system because they recognize that, if they really want to build a reggae in their area, it's kind of what they have to do. And then there are a lot of people selecting reggae music. Like I was also really happy to see that in the last 5 to 10 years, in the last 5 years, I would say, or maybe even less than that, but it's just more and more people start selecting reggae music, and dancehall also. Like a lot of people are into dancehall and dancing, and it's really taking off in India, where 5 years ago, if you would have asked me about reggae in India, I would have said like, man, there's not much. And now today, if you're asking me, I would say there's like a regular festival called Goa Sunsplash, and there in a lot of places there are crews that are getting into reggae, and a lot of the hip hop kids are also getting into reggae because they realize like, yo, this is the roots, So it's growing. I mean, it's still in its infancy. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, India is still, reggae is very new to India, and it's always a question, how deep does it go? How deep do people get into it? But it's definitely growing, and everyone's working hard and doing their bit, to shout out to all the people pushing reggae music in India. Big shout out,
Okay. What is your opinion on 10 minutes rounds in clashes?
I think it's cool for an online clash, I think, because online people's attention span is very low. But I mean, my opinion is kind of different. Like, I think you need more time. You know what I mean? You need proper rounds and you need more time, because that's when you really know if somebody has tune. And also, I think it takes time to build up an atmosphere. I'm not really in favor of all the really super fast mixing. And I think a lot of old school cats are not really in favor either. Like, if you talk to people, like you talk to Babyface or Rory or any of those kind of people, they will all tell you, or Black or Dread, I heard them say this in interviews as well. All of them feel like, yo, what's this thing of just paying like one line of a lyric of a song, So, yeah, man, I feel like longer rounds are better. And then also, see, like a sound like Black Cat would oftentimes, the momentum of the dance would change. First 2 rounds, maybe it looks like the other sound is winning. And then third round, Black Cat start killing and turn the clash around. And for all of those kind of things to happen, you need more time. It can't be like one of these micro clash with not much attention span, It can be fun, but I think proper rounds, it makes it more dynamic, and you let the tunes play a little bit, and that makes the whole clash more dynamic, you know what I mean? Because then you really need to know tune and you really need to play. And a lot of the old sound clash used to go long. Also, when we hold session in India, we play for 5 hours, so that kind of thing.
Okay. You feel like we need a big cup clash for the world?
I don't know. It's a tricky question, man. Like, I was talking to Wari, from Clashology, and they actually feel that the whole trophy thing kind of mash up the clash.
Okay.
They feel that, in earlier times when there wasn't a trophy and there wasn't actually any voting either, it's just that after a while it becomes clear who won. And they feel that that gives more focus to the craft, and enjoying the thing. So, I mean, World Clash and all of these things are great, and I love watching them too, but I don't know, man, like the golden era, and I mean, of course, you can never bring that back, but like, those clashes that people still talk about, the Biltmore era and all of those were all when you didn't really have cops and stuff,
So,
but the vibe was wicked.
Yeah. Speaking of the golden era, what is missing right now compared to then?
Hard to say, King, and I mean, like, who am I to say also? Like, everybody will have a different opinion on this. I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like something happened, and that's not the only reason. There's many contributing factors to this, but I think something happened, like with the laptop and the fact that the sound system, it becomes more accessible for people. That helped to spread the culture, but at the same time, it kind of watered it down, where I just feel like the quality of sound and selectors is just nowhere near those dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like Babyface in his days would pull out some Wu-Tang Clan and Fugees and some Tony Braxton when Tony Braxton was hot. And the equivalent would be if you hear now Addies play and suddenly they pull out like a Kendrick Lamar or pull out something like that, and people are like shocked, So I don't really know if that's happening still. And to me, honestly, this is my personal thing, and I know a lot of people may not agree with this, but I do think that the real dub plate and the vinyl and all of those things added something. They add, because the dubs used to just sound so good, and it make you feel so good when they play on a big system. And I think with the controllers and the generic samples that everyone plays, something got lost, and maybe that affects the vitality of the dance, how you used to have it. I don't know, man. I think there's many factors,
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the link.
Yeah, much love, brother. Good, was good linking with you, and big up, big deal sound.
Yeah.
And whole Kenya massive. Much love, and yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully we make things soon.
Yeah. Blessed.
All right, salute. Bless up.
Yeah.
Listen me, this is Bass here, I represent for the big deal sound. Hear me now? The real deal sound from Africa. I know straight out of Compton, big deal straight out of Africa. The motherland, hear me now, man? I know sound better than. Yo, warm to them.